Can you see me clearly? Okay, good. So when we talk about cost, these are payments made by firms in the course of producing a product. These are costs, or these are payments made by firms in the course of producing a product. That is what we call cost. Do you understand what cost is here? Okay, so we say costs. These are payments made by firms in the production process. In the production process. Is it clear? Good. So what are the examples of costs? Wages and salaries paid to employees is a cost. Rent paid to owners of land because using the business premises is a cost. Advertising expenses is a cost. When you purchase raw materials and components from suppliers, it's a cost. Utility bills are cost. Dividend payments to shareholders, they are cost. Taxes paid to government based on the value of the profit made by the company, it's a cost. So all these are costs. Do you understand? Okay, so we say examples of cost now. Examples of costs as follows. Wages and salaries paid to employees, raw materials purchased, advertising expenses, rent paid to landowners in the course of using in the process of operation. Taxes paid to government on profits made by firms. We call it corporation tax. So these are types of costs we encounter as a business. So also here, we talk about telephone expenses. Telephone expenses, internet expenses. Dividends you have to pay. Dividends paid to shareholders. So all these are the type of costs we have. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Yeah.
Good. Where's your camera again? Alright. So we move to the categories of costs we have. So we have 4 categories of cost. So for costs, we have fixed costs, which is FC. We have variable costs, which is VC. We have total costs, which is TC, and we have average costs, which is AC. Are you with me? Okay. So we have fixed cost, we have variable cost, we have total cost, and we have average cost. differ, so we need to talk about each one. So let's start with fixed costs. Fixed costs. So when you talk about fixed costs, these costs, they don't change. Even if the level of output changes, they are constant. They have to be paid regardless of whatever happens to your production process. Is it clear? They do not change regardless of whatever happens to the business. That's why we call them fixed costs. Is it clear? Okay. So for fixed costs, these are costs that have to be paid regardless of any situation of the firm. Whatever might happen to the firm, this cost has to be paid. Is it clear? So, graphically, it is represented as this. This is cost in dollars.
Recording in progress.
So if the cost, for example, if the cost is $3,000, it has to be paid, so it is fixed cost. Fixed costs. Is it clear? Okay. So irrespective of what the output is or might be, this cost has to be paid. Is it clear? Alright, so let's say this is 0 and this is output level. Output level, okay? So, at this point in time, regardless of what the output level is, it has to be paid. Is it clear? So, at any level, at the 0 level of output, it has to be paid. At the maximum level of output, it has to be paid. Is it clear? Yes. Good. So we go to variable costs. For variable costs, what are variable costs? Variable costs are costs that changes as the level of output changes. So this cost of production, it changes as soon as the level of output changes. The more you produce, the more your cost of production. Is it clear? Okay, so we'll go to variable costs now. So, for variable costs, this is FC, VC. So for variable costs, these costs change as the level of output changes. Is it clear? Alright. So for variable cost, it is not constant. It changes. So you don't have a definite amount on cost. So you can graphically represent it as this. So this is a variable cost. Is it clear? Alright, so it changes as the level of output changes. Do you have any question for now? Alright. So then we have the total cost. Total costs. For the total cost, which is TC, it is the combination of the variable cost and the fixed cost. The variable cost and the fixed cost. This gives you your total cost. So we say TC equals to FC plus VC. Is it clear? Okay, so we say total costs. These are the combination of the fixed costs and variable costs. So graphically you represent it as this. It means this and this. Are you seeing it? What about this way? Okay. So let's assume we have 3,000 as a cost. So this is cost. Output level. So we have 3,000 here. So we have 3,000 here in dollars. So if this is our FC, then our VC so this is our total cost. Are you with me? So this is our TC. The combination of the VC, which is at zero level. For a zero level of output, it is zero variable cost. Do you get it? As the output increases, then the variable cost will increase. So your fixed cost will still stay. Is it clear? Alright, so our TC is VC and VC and FC gives you your TC. Do we get it? Okay. So I'm going to quickly recap it again. We're talking about costs, revenues, and profits. So when we talk about costs, costs are the payments made in the production process. Firms, they do make this payment in the cost of producing a product or a service. Examples of costs, like I mentioned, we have wages and salaries paid to employees is a cost. Raw materials you purchase is a cost. Advertisement expenses is a cost. Telephone bills and expenditures is a cost. The rent you pay to the landowners is a cost. Taxes you pay to government, they are cost. Corporation tax is a cost. So all these costs, all these expenses are part of a firm's cost. But they are categorized into four. We have the fixed cost, we have the variable cost, the total cost, the average cost. So these are the categories of costs we have. Are you with me? So, based on this, your fixed cost is constant, irrespective of whatever happens with your production process. You still have to pay it. At the zero level of output, you pay. At the maximum level of output, you pay. For variable costs, these costs change as the level of output changes. So, at the zero level of output, it is zero variable cost. At an increase in the level of output, there's an increase in your variable cost. As your output level increases, your variable cost increases. Is it clear? And great. So lastly, here we have the total cost, the TC. For TC, it is FC plus VC. So, for TC is equal to FC plus VC, your total costs are what? The combination of the fixed cost and the variable cost. So that's your total cost. So, your fixed and the variable cost gives you your total cost. Is it clear? And lastly, we have what we call average cost. So for the average cost, it is your total cost divided by your output. Are you with me? So average cost is AC. Where is it? AC. So we say AC equals TC divided by output. This is your average cost. Total cost divided by output. Are you with me? Alright. So I'm going to quickly stop here to take the image, then we'll continue. Divided by output. And you have to take note that whenever your output increases, your average cost will also increase. I think you can see the board. Great. So whenever your average cost increases, whenever your output increases, your average cost will increase. So how do you go about your average cost? You consider the two output level, the two costs you have, the level of your output, then you divide it by your cost. Okay, so now we have questions here. It's at the table below. This table shows a firm's FC and VC at different levels of output. Calculate the level of output where average costs are at the lowest. So we need to find which level of output that has the lowest average cost. Are you with me? Alright, so we take it one at a time. The first level of output is 20, right? Okay. And we said for average cost, AC is equal to TC divided by output. Right? Are you with me? Great. So for AC1, let's say this is 1, 2, 3 and 4. So for AC1, let's say AC1. What is the total cost for 1? FC plus VC. So we have 300 plus VC 40 over output 20. Are you with me? So we have 340 over 20. 0, 0, 2 here, 1 here, 17. This is 17. So the AC1 is 17. We go to AC2. 300 plus 75 divided by 20. That's 375 divided by 20. That is what? 375 divided by 20. What's it going to give you, please? You have a calculator? Don't worry. 375 divided by 20. 375 divided by 20. That's 18.75. 18.75. Then AC3, we have, sorry, I didn't look up.
Recording in progress.
So for AC3, we have 300 plus 40, 75, 120. 120 over, sorry please, this is 30. This is 30, not 20. 30. So that's 375 divided by 30, not 20. 375 divided by 30, 12.5. Okay. $12.5. This is 40. That's 420 divided by 40. So 420 divided by 40. 420 divided by 40. 10.5. 10.5. Then AC4. We have 300 plus 250 divided by 50 equals 550 divided by 50. 0, 0, that's 11. Right? Great. So at which level of output do we have the lowest average cost? At which level of output do we have the lowest average cost? At which level of output do we have the lowest average cost? The 11, 10.5, 12.5, 17. At level of output 3, right? So we have the lowest level of output, or lowest level of average cost at this. Is it clear? Is it clear? Lowest AC. Any question about it? No, wait. So we go to the next one. We said, here, I need to stop the video.